Hey, welcome back. I'm really excited for this video. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. I want to show you how to enhance your protections with Microsoft Dynamics 365, specifically Dynamics CRM. Now, what I'm going to show you is how you can take Microsoft 365 security compliance technology, Endpoint DLP, sensitivity labels, Cloud App Security, Microsoft Endpoint Manager, Azure Active Directory Premium, and enhance the security on Dynamics CRM. Now, some of the things I'm going to show you, such as Endpoint Manager and Microsoft Cloud App Security and Azure Active Directory Premium, can also be applied to other CRM systems like Salesforce. And I'll do another video on that in the near future. So let's go ahead and jump into this and take a look. Hold up, just a few quick disclaimers before we go any further. Number one, I'm showing you how to enhance security on top of Dynamics using some specific Microsoft technologies. Now, I really encourage you to go out there and learn about the myriad of different security controls that are built into Dynamics first. So you're going to want to go out and read the documentation on that to make sure you get those implemented. The second thing I want to mention is nothing is 100% secure. If an attacker is determined enough to get into your CRM system and exfiltrate data, they're going to make it happen. And so that's where we have to have our approach to cybersecurity using defense in depth or a layered defense. And so what I'm going to show you is how to block some very specific exfiltration methods that are common with insider risk. But this is not going to accommodate for everything that can happen. So again, defense in depth is key. And you're going to want to make sure you go out there and really learn more about this as you start to architect security for your CRM system. Okay, with all that being said, let's jump into the demos. Okay, I'm logged into my corporate machine. This is the machine that's managed by my company's IT department. So it's fully managed. So let's go ahead and launch Office 365. So I'm just going to open up a web browser here and go to portal.office.com. And from here, we're going to launch Dynamics. So just on the Waffle launcher, I'm going to click on Dynamics and watch what happens when I launch Dynamics. It immediately escalates me and it presents this warning message. You're attempting to access a restricted system that contains sensitive business data. All activity performed in this system will be audited and controlled. If you have any questions, contact the IT help desk. So I can hide this as an end user if I want. It'll just come back up in a week. But at this point forward, everything's going to be audited and controlled. So I'm going to click continue and we're going to get signed into Dynamics. So now that we're signed in, I want you to notice that up in the address bar here, the domain is MCAS.ms, indicating that this data is being proxied through Microsoft Cloud App Security. And when I click on my CRM application within Dynamics, you'll notice that it's still being proxied through MCAS.ms, and we're inside Dynamics at this point. Now I'm feeling a little nefarious, so I'm going to go try to export the complete list of accounts. I'm just going to go over to Accounts, click on All Accounts, and here's 107 customer accounts within this fictitious company that I have. And I'm going to click on the ellipsis here, and I have an option to export to Excel. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to generate a little Excel file here, and there it is. It gets downloaded to my machine. And let's go ahead and open up that Excel spreadsheet. So there it is, my downloads folder. Let's go ahead and open it. Now, once it's open, I can go ahead and work with the data in here, right? Get the job done. But if I'm feeling nefarious here, I can try to exfiltrate this data. Let me show you why that won't work. Well, number one, there's a sensitivity label applied to this spreadsheet. And that means the spreadsheet itself is actually encrypted, and there's also some permissions and restrictions on it, which I'll show you here in a second. Now, if I try to uncheck the box, I get an error message here letting me know that you don't have permissions to make that change. So I cannot remove the sensitivity label from the file, and that label travels with the file no matter where it goes. That's important. If I come over here to File and I go to Info and we go to Protect Workbook, notice that there are some permissions set on the workbook, and there you can see that the copy permissions are denied along with the export and full control permissions. So what does that mean? Well, if we go over here to Export and I try to export this out to a PDF, notice when I clicked on Export to PDF, nothing happens. Let's do it again. Create PDF. Nothing happens. Let's now try to take this data and right click and try to copy it. Notice the copy is grayed out. If I try to do a Control C and then open up something like Notepad, look at that. I can't even paste it in. It's grayed out and Control V doesn't work. So it's denying copy. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, Matt, what about a screenshot? Well, let's try it. So let's just launch the snipping tool right there in Windows, and let's try to take a screenshot. Look at that. When I try to take a screenshot, it actually hides the Excel spreadsheet. So there's the spreadsheet. I'm going to click on New Snipping Screenshot, and it hides it. I can't do that. And you're probably wondering, okay, what about the print screen key? Oh, well, let's try it here. Alt print screen, and then let's open up Paint and see if we could paste it into Paint. Nope. I can't do that either. Okay, so I can't take screenshots. I can't copy data out of it. What else can I not do? Well, I have a little USB stick plugged into my computer right now. And here you can see it's on the D drive. We're going to take that Excel spreadsheet and we're going to try to copy it over to that USB stick because I'm being nefarious. So let's go ahead and drag and drop this over. Now watch what happens. Boom, stopped in my tracks. Look at this little toast notification down here. It tells me, oh, sorry, let me zoom out. It tells me your organization's policy is preventing me from copying that data. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so I can't copy data out of it with the clipboard. I can't take a screenshot. I cannot copy it to a USB stick. What else can I not do? Well, let's log into something like my personal email. So I'm going to go out to Yandex. That's my personal email. And we're going to try to send this to somebody as an attachment. Maybe I can exfiltrate it that way. So let's go ahead and type in new boss at competitor.com because I'm going to go take this to the new company that I'm going to go work at. And I'm going to call this my old company's account list of customers. And we're going to attach that file. So attach from my computer, and there's the spreadsheet. I'll zoom in just so you can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to try to attach it. Whoa, look at that. Up here, it says your organization has blocked uploading protected content to unprotected locations. So I can't attach it to my personal email. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, Matt, you're using the Edge browser. What if you're using Chrome? Hey, I like how you think. So let's go ahead and open up Chrome and let's go to yandex.com. And now let's try to do it with yandex.com and Chrome. So we're going to zoom in here for you so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to create a new message. We're going to call this my new boss at competitor.com. And I'm going to say list of customers from my old company. And I'm going to attach that file. So let's find it here in the downloads folder. Nope, can't do it. Look at the toast notification down here in the lower right-hand corner. It's blocked. I cannot get this data off my computer. It's being blocked. How cool is this? It's pretty interesting, right? Now let's change the game a little bit. Let's say I'm working from home or I'm using a personal device and I'm logged into Dynamics or my CRM app. How do I stop the download or the activity on a personal device? Let's take a look. Okay, let's pretend that this is a personal device that is not managed by my company's IT department. I'm going to open up the web browser here and we're going to go to home.dynamics.com and get signed in. So let's go ahead and get logged in. And do the MFA thing. There we go. No need to remember who I am because I'm on a personal device. And there's that same splash screen that we got before. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on continue. And then we're going to scroll through my list of apps here, open up my CRM app. And notice I'm being redirected through MCAS.ms in the address bar. And let's try to do that activity again. So we're going to go to accounts and we will list all accounts and then export to Excel, and let's see what happens. Boom, stopped my tracks. Download blocked. Warning, you're not allowed to download data from Dynamics to a personal device. This action's been audited. And that's all she wrote. Now, if I come in here and I click on open file and try to download a file, but this is just letting you know that it was blocked and I got a SHA-256 there for the file. So it did not download that Excel spreadsheet. So let's try to do something different. Let's open up one of these customer accounts and let's try to copy data out of one of these fields here. So I'm just going to highlight it, right click. Notice the copy is grayed out. I can't copy data there. Now, if I try to do a Control C, oh, I'm blocked from doing copying via Control C. Copying data from Dynamics when using a non-managed device is in violation. So I can't do that. What about print? Well, let's go up here. Let's choose print. Nope. Look at that. I can't print. Let's try that one more time so you can see what happens. I can't print. So I can't print the data. I can't copy the data. I can't download the data. I can't exfiltrate it. Now I know what you're wondering. What about a screenshot? And again, I like how you think. I'm on a personal device. Unfortunately, I cannot block the screenshot if I'm logged in on a personal device. But that's where the question comes up. You know, how important is this data? Do we want to just block logins from personal devices altogether? You know, that's a business decision that you'll have to make. Okay, let's think a little bit more about accessing CRM from a personal non-managed device. Let's talk about multi-factor authentication and terms of use. Okay, so we're going to go to home.dynamics.com and we're going to get signed in. So enter in my username. Now, this is on a personal computer that's not managed by my company's IT department. And just like you saw in the previous demo, it's going to prompt me for multi-factor authentication. Now, I'm just using the push notification on the Authenticator app on my phone to get signed in there. I can use a number of other different methods of phone call. I can use a FIDO2 security key. I can get a text message. I can use a one-time passcode. So make sure you understand those different methods. It doesn't always have to be the push notification. And then immediately I get prompted with a terms of use agreement. I cannot proceed unless I accept this. If I click decline, it'll just sign me out. Now this is specific to the device, so it knows I'm logging in from a new device and it's going to present this. Also, I cannot accept it until I review the full terms of use agreement. So I actually have to expand it and I have to go through and start reading this and scroll all the way to the bottom, and then I can click on accept. So that's a terms of use agreement. My opinion, it keeps the honest people honest, if you will, but it's just like the old Control-Alt-Delete days where I had to have that disclaimer on the Windows login screen before you sign in. Same idea, and a lot of organizations out there really appreciate this, both from a legal perspective and from a practical perspective. So let's just click on accept. And then we will be signed in, and then I'll be redirected here to the splash screen. Let me know that all my activity is being audited and controlled. And then from there, I can sign into Dynamics like normal. Now, this is on a personal machine, and I had to use MFA to get in, and I also had to accept a terms of use agreement. Okay, so let's pivot and let's talk about using Dynamics on a mobile device, like maybe an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone, and how to secure that experience within that mobile app. Okay, so I'm on my iPad. Now this could be a personal iPad, it could be a corporate issued iPad, doesn't really matter, but I'm on my mobile device and I download the Dynamics 365 app. So let's go ahead and launch it. And let's get signed in here. So I'm just gonna type in my username. There we go. And punch in my password. And then I'll be prompted for multi-factor authentication. So push notification on my other device that authenticates me. And then there's the terms of use that we just talked about. So we're going to expand it and scroll down and then click accept after we reviewed it. And we're going to get signed into Dynamics. Now, right when I get signed in, look what happens. I get a prompt here, a little dialog box. Your organization is now protecting its data in this app. You need to restart the app to continue. Okay, so we're going to tap OK. It closes the app. When we relaunch it, watch what happens. It's now going to require that I set a PIN in order to open the app. Now, with my policy, I can have this not only be a PIN, but I could also have it be Touch ID or Face ID or biometrics. But I'm just going to go ahead and give this a top secret PIN. Don't tell anybody. Actually, let me give it a different one. And there we go. So now we're logged into Dynamics. Now, anytime I want to access Dynamics on my iPad, I actually have to type in that PIN. And I'll show you that more in just a second. But let's go ahead and tap on Apps. And actually, we're going to tap on Switch View. And then we're going to go to Sales Hub, which is my CRM. And here I am logged into CRM. Let's go ahead and force close this. And let's come back in about 60 seconds, try to launch it again. And you'll see me get prompted for that PIN. All right, so let's relaunch the app. And there it is asking me for my PIN in order to access it. So I'm going to type in my top secret PIN. Don't tell anybody. And now we're back in Dynamics. It's launched CRM, and away we go. Okay, so let's tap on the hamburger here, go to Pinned, and we're going to open up a customer's account entry in CRM. And there it is. And at this point, we're going to be nefarious, and we're going to try to copy some data out of that. Maybe it's the company name. I'm going to tap on copy, and then I'm going to go try to paste this in an app that my IT department does not manage, like maybe the Notes app. So there's the Notes app. And we're just going to tap and choose paste. And look at that. Your organization's data cannot be pasted here. Boom, stopped my tracks. All right, let's go back to Dynamics. So I can't copy data out of it. What else can I not do? Well, here is a attachment on the CRM entry there. It looks like we have a rough order of magnitude quote that was uploaded to that CRM entry. And so, of course, I can open it. I can view it here, see what this was, right? But if I want to try to exfiltrate this and maybe save it locally, notice I can't. I don't even have the option to save it locally. I can't send it to a social media app. I can't save it to a third-party cloud storage. When I tap on Edit Actions, nothing else appears except for Copy to Excel. Now, when I choose that, it's going to go open up Excel, but Excel is also managed by the company's IT department. And so the data inside Excel will also be protected. And there you can see it's asking me to close the app in order to continue. So we're going to relaunch it. And now it's going to be protected. So if we switch back to Dynamics and we try to open that Excel spreadsheet in the Excel app, it opens, so I can work with it here. I can manipulate it. But if I want to try to share it, I won't be able to do that. So let me show you an example of that. So if we try to save a copy, notice on my iPad is actually grayed out. I can choose the Files app, but it doesn't allow me to do that. I can add a third-party storage account, but the only options I get is OneDrive. Even if I tried the personal OneDrive, that would still be blocked. So I can't save this document anywhere outside or the spreadsheet outside the managed app. So those are two really quick examples of what this might look like. Now I know what you're thinking. You're wondering, what if you take a screenshot? And I like the way you think. Here's how that would work. If I'm on an iOS or iPadOS device, and the device is not managed, it's not enrolled in a mobile device manager, then I can actually take a screenshot. Now, how do I prevent that? I enroll it into MDM, Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and I actually have a policy that can block screenshots throughout the entire operating system. Now, if this was an Android device, it's a little different. There's actually an ability for me to have just the Dynamics app here and block screenshots. In fact, let me show you what that would look like. I have a screenshot of me blocking screenshots on an Android device. And so that's where the entire app actually goes dark. It's black screen, and I can only see that top upper portion there, and you can see that I couldn't save the screenshot. So just a black screen is what I get. My device, if we go to settings and software update, you can see it's missing the latest software update. So it's out of date. So now let's launch the Dynamics app and look at that. To access your data associated with your account, your organization requires this app to run on iOS 14.4.1 or higher, and then I can close the app. I'm blocked. I can't open the app until I update my device's OS. Okay, let's launch the Dynamics 365 app on my iPad and get signed in, and look at that. Your organization has removed its data associated with this app. To continue, you must restart this app. To reconnect to your organization, sign in to your work or school account. So let's say I left the organization. This could be a personal iPad. This can be a corporate issued iPad. Doesn't matter. A remote wipe command can be sent just to the app. In this case, it wiped everything in that app. Okay, really cool stuff, right? Now let's pivot and let's take a look at some other types of threats. Here's an interesting scenario. I've downloaded a really old version of Firefox, version 82, which I think was around October of 2020 was when that came out. And I'm going to try to log into Dynamics with that outdated version of Firefox. So there goes MFA. So let's respond to MFA. And there you go. Check it out. The current browser is not supported. Please use Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, or Chrome to access this application. So it's an out-of-date version of Firefox, and that's being blocked. So again, that could be useful if I have a requirement that I only want up-to-date patched versions of browsers to be able to access Dynamics. Here's another example. I've downloaded the Tor browser, and the Tor browser allows me to anonymize my IP address, and it also routes me through different IPs to be able to anonymize it. And I'm going to try to sign in using the Tor browser. Now, maybe this might be where somebody actually stole Jeff's credentials, maybe through a phishing email campaign, and they're going to try to impersonate Jeff. So they're signing in through the Tor browser. It's anonymizing that IP address, and when they try to sign in, there you go. Sign in was successful, but does not meet criteria. For example, you might be signed in from a browser app or location that is restricted. I cannot continue at this point, and I can't use the Tor browser. Okay, here I am on my corporate device that's managed by my company's IT department. You could see that there actually is a threat on the device that Microsoft Defender for Endpoint and Microsoft Defender Antivirus caught. And because there's an active threat on my device, I've been flagged. And so if I try to log into Dynamics, so we'll just go to home.dynamics.com, and we try to sign in, look what happens. Let me zoom in there for you. Your device isn't up to date with your organization's policies. So it's out of compliance because there's an active threat on it. Now, if I click on Device Management Portal, watch what happens. It's going to log me into a special portal. It's going to tell me that my device here is no longer compliant with my company's policy. And when I click on this pink area here, it says this device cannot access company resources. You need to make some changes. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint has found a threat. When I click on Show More, it tells me a little bit about what it found because I actually installed malware on this machine, and now I can't do anything. Now I can click on Check Status to have it try to check the status of that device to see if there's any malware that's still on it. But there still is because I haven't removed it yet, and it's still going to be out of compliance. And so when I try to log into Dynamics, I will be denied access. Wow, There's so much to talk about, and I haven't even talked about everything yet. There's still many more things left to go over. Now, I do want to show you the back end of this and how the admin portals work. So let's take some time and go through some of that next. Okay, I'm going to log into the Azure portal. We're going to start there. I'm going to click on Azure Active Directory, go to Security, and then go to Conditional Access, where I have a conditional access policy created. I have it scoped to all of my users. I have it scoped to just two apps, Common Data Service and Office 365. I have it scoped to Common Data Service because I was doing some testing for some other things. Now, when I go to Office 365 here, this also includes Dynamics CRM. So if we pull up the documentation, there's Dynamics CRM. And then under Conditions, I have it scoped to client apps, browser, mobile and apps, and desktop clients. I'm not doing other clients because I don't want to impact Windows activation or Office activation or anything like that. And then, and then under Grant, I have require an MFA, and I could also optionally require my terms of use agreement. Now, I can also click require all of the selected controls to be able to do that. So in the demos, I had all selected. I had both of these selected as well. And then I have under session, using a custom policy and use conditional access app control box checked. Now, when that's checked and the user signs in and they're scoped to all users and they sign into one of the Office 365 apps and they're using a browser or mobile app and desktop client, they're going to be challenged with multi-factor authentication. They're going to be challenged with the terms of use if I have that enabled. And then it's going to redirect to Microsoft Cloud App Security to do session control. So let's take a look at what that is. So here we are inside Microsoft Cloud App Security. And I have a policy created. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to pull up connected apps. I'm going to go to conditional access app control apps. And I have Dynamics connected here under that. And then I'm going to pull up policies and go to conditional access. And here you can see some of the policies I have created for the demo. Here's one of them, Dynamics apply DLP to downloads like you saw in the demo. And I have a control file download with inspection scoped to the Dynamics app. So when conditional access kicks it over to Microsoft Cloud App Security, unless the app is on this filter, it's only going to be applied to Dynamics. So in this case, it's only applied to Dynamics. It's not applied to any other app. And then for device type, I have it scoped to basically all devices. And then under that, we're not inspecting data, although we could inspect the data. And then from there, I am applying a sensitivity label. This needs to be updated, but it's a Microsoft 365 sensitivity label for customer data. And then there's my custom block message, and then we're creating an alert. Now notice I can do an inspection method here. I can use MCAS's built-in DLP engine, or I can use the data classification service, which allows me to do document fingerprints, exact data match, sensitive information types, trainable classifiers, all sorts of crazy stuff. And so in production, I might even want to use EDM so I can match it up with like account numbers coming out of Dynamics or something. And then from there, I can be selective here. And rather than saying apply a label to every document that we download, just inspect it. And if it meets certain criteria, then apply it. All right. Now, I can also change these, and I can choose something like control file upload, which then changes it a little bit more. So I can block the upload based on criteria, or I can block certain activities such as cut, copy, and paste and printing, like you saw in the demo. Now I blocked it for everything, but you can again inspect that content, and if it includes certain criteria, then block it. So that's pretty cool. So that is when it kicks over to MCAS. Now you might be wondering, is there any issues there with kicking this over to MCAS? Well, again, my filter is set only to the Dynamics app. All right, so what else can I show you? Let me toss it over to, actually, before I do that, there was one other policy here. Let me go back and block outdated browser and OS. So this is where if they're trying to sign into Dynamics and the user agent tag is an outdated browser or outdated operating system, and the device type is one of these types, then block that access with a customized message. And then, of course, create an alert. So here's all the alerts of when those activities were taking place. Let's sign into Microsoft Endpoint Manager, endpoint.microsoft.com. And also let me get signed into the compliance portal here. And before we go to Endpoint Manager, let me walk into compliance for just a moment because I want to show you Endpoint DLP. Remember when I showed you how I can block copy into a USB drive or block uploading a personal email? That was using Endpoint DLP. So how do I do that? Well, first off, I created a sensitivity label called customer data. And in that sensitivity label, we have it encrypting data. We have it encrypting that file. So it's applying encryption and it's also applying some content marking here. Now, if I edit it and I go to, if I go into here, this is where I have it assigning permissions to everybody in my organization who has access, but then I am applying custom permissions and I am not applying extract or export, which in the demo, this is what blocked cut, copy, and paste and blocked export to PDF and blocked screenshots. So that's how I'm doing that. Now, after I created the sensitivity label, I went over to data classification and I created a custom sensitive information type. Actually, sorry, no, I did not. Sorry. I created a DLP policy. And if we go over here to my DLP policy that I created, and we take a look at that, I'm applying it just to devices, although I could apply it to other things too, but I'm doing it just to devices. I'm applying an advanced rule here where it is looking for a sensitivity label called customer data that's applied to the document. And if it is, then we're going to block all of these different things. Block copy to clipboard, block copy to network share, block printing, block copying over RDP, block copying USB, etc. Now I could change it to audit only, where we allow you to have it happen, but then we audit in the audit log. But block also audits in the audit log. And then block with override means we'll block it, but then we'll give the user an option to override it with a business justification. And then, of course, that gets audited as well. I could turn on notifications, all sorts of different things I can do there. So that's how I did the Endpoint DLP demo. If you look at my Endpoint DLP settings, this is where I'm telling it right here. I'm telling it, hey, we're not going to allow Chrome or Firefox. And then I'm only allowing these domains for the file to be uploaded to. So that's how I'm disallowing it for personal email and other websites. And then business justification is required as well. So you get the idea. Lots of different advanced settings. I've done another video on Endpoint DLP if you want to check that out. And then as far as Endpoint Manager is concerned, when you saw me log into the Dynamics app on my iPad, I have an app protection policy being applied. And that app protection policy is where we are applying all sorts of fun stuff. So it's scoped to these apps, such as Dynamics 365 and even Field Service Mobile. And then from there, I'm applying data protection. And I'm blocking the ability to back up to iCloud or iTunes. I'm blocking sending the data to other apps within the operating system. I'm blocking cut, copy, and paste, third-party keyboards, all sorts of fun stuff. And then from there, under access requirements, this is where I'm specifying a PIN. I'm telling it different parameters on how I want people to be able to open up that app. And then if I go down to conditional launch, this is where I have max PIN attempts set. This is where I also set things like the minimum OS version. This is where I set things like minimum app version that you saw in the demo. And then if we go over here to apps and we go to app selective wipe, this is where I've initiated a remote wipe that you saw in the demo. And then from there, if I go over to devices and compliance policies, this is where I have a compliance policy configured for Windows. So remember when I had the malware in my device? Well, in my compliance policy, it says, sorry, I'm going really fast on you. I'm sorry about that. In my compliance policy, this is where I have it set to if the device risk score is at or under clear, then it's in compliance. So when I got malware on it, because it was at a higher score, it was out of compliance. Wow, well that was a lot. And I haven't even shown you everything yet. But hopefully this helps give you an idea of just the power of Microsoft security and compliance technology that can also help to provide additional protections for Dynamics 365 and Dynamics CRM. Now, things I showed you in Microsoft Cloud App Security and even in Azure Active Directory Premium, such as conditional access and single sign-on, can also be applied to Salesforce and other CRM systems. So I might do a video on some of that in the near future. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, just click on subscribe and then click that bell icon so you can stay notified whenever I upload a new video. And also give me a thumbs up, and that lets me know that you liked it. And if you didn't like it, that's okay too. If you have any feedback, by all means, put it down in the comments section and I'll take a look at it. Well, everyone, I really appreciate you watching until the end here. I know that was a lot of content, and I'll be sure to put links in the video description for all the formal documentation. Alrighty, well, hey, we'll see everybody in the next video, and take care.